And I'm going to start with Mr. Prados.
Hello.
How did you come upon the idea of circonomics? How did it come into existence?
Yeah, that was Patrick Pita, the CEO of Circonomics, that he was involved at some point in a project where he was asked to study and analyze the supply chain of batteries and try to make it better. It was a consulting project. It was in the beginning, before 2018, when Circonomics started, and then he put it in a POSIT. And then 1 year later, he was thinking about how the OEMs are going to deal with the tsunami of batteries that are going to come in 10 years. So he started thinking about how to solve the problem, and then he came up with the idea of the digitalization of the batteries.
I'm sure the following question has been asked by the KfW already very deeply, since they give you finance. What do you do different from anybody else?
Well, we are going to be the first solution platform to provide an end-to-end solution for batteries after the first life. So we are doing everything different because we are going to be the first to be out there and fighting for this purpose. So if you ask about the specific, what we are doing different in the different areas of the marketplace and how we are analyzing the condition of the batteries, we are focusing on second life, because this is where we think that it's very important that we start reusing batteries that are not anymore suitable for EVs. And well, this is not happening right now, and we are looking for increasing the volume of batteries that are going for these applications.
I'm sure you need the cooperation of the big car industry. We just talked to 2 gentlemen from executive boards. Do you find them welcoming? Do you find them cooperative?
Sure. It was not sarcastic, it was honest. I think this is, well, Daimler CEO said that circularity of batteries is a really complex problem. And it's clear that the interaction between small companies and big companies, and here I don't care if it's OEMs or, I don't know, data providers or whatsoever, is always complex. Because a startup doesn't transmit maybe the security of a good corporation. But we are interacting with them, we are pitching them, we are explaining them why it's interesting for them to look at the marketplace of Circonomics, why it's interesting to reuse batteries in second life applications, and basically they are accepting our proposal and we are starting to work together.
If you look at the circular economy at large, there are other countries outside of Germany who are further advanced. The Finns, for example, other Scandinavian countries. Yep. Why do you think the development of the circular economy in Germany lags a bit? After all, we've been talking about this since the 90s.
This is a good question, but since I'm a foreigner, I'm not checking how Germany is performing regarding other countries. I have a more global vision of how circularity is evolving, and I wouldn't say that Germany lacks of circularity in some cases. I think that is globally it's difficult to get circularity. Here again, I wouldn't say that Germany has to catch up. I'm thinking that in general the world has to catch up in the concept of circularity.
Thank you for this very diplomatic answer. Jürgen, Perschon, how did your project come about? How did you conceive the idea?
Well, thank you, Mr. Häuser. I travel to Africa since 25 years now. And from year to year, the traffic jams in the cities of Nairobi, Kampala, Johannesburg, they're becoming longer and longer. So when I came there in 2016, I saw already a lot of solar panels on the houses, whereas the traffic jams are still the same. And I saw the people are using smartphones, mobile phones, all over, even in rural areas. So when I traveled back, I saw all the e-bikes here in Europe coming up. So every second bike in Germany is sold as an e-bike. So I thought, can we combine the green energy sector with the digitalization trend in Africa, plus mobility for the masses? Because I think that maybe we have 500 something cars per person in Germany, whereas we have 20 to 30 in the African countries. So the question is the individual mobility based on the car only the right solution? So we thought about testing out e-bikes, solar-driven, with a high loading capacity, with a relatively high speed, for those ones who can afford through microcredit and so on. And this is why we did this approach with the e-bike.
And you built the e-bike where? Where is it being constructed?
Well, the bikes are designed in Germany by H&F Nicolai in Berlin, in Bitterfeld. So all the features are based on the design here, and they are produced by the biggest bicycle manufacturer in the world, which is Hero in India.
And then so far solely for the African market?
I think there are a lot of markets also outside Africa. We have a lot of requests from many countries already. We are brand new, if you say so. The bike is 2 months old. But we have also the idea to look for South American markets and so on.
In Germany, e-bikes quickly reached the sort of the 5,000 euro mark.
Yes.
When you go to, especially to luxury shops. But how much do you pay for your e-bike? Does one pay for your e-bike in Africa?
In Africa, e-bike will cost around maybe 750 euro. This is a lot of money for many households. So we are looking especially on the business case. So e-bike can be used as delivery services, as bicycle taxi, as cargo services. I think the last mile in Africa is very important. We have a huge amount of jobs which we can create in the transport sector. And if you create your own income with an e-bike, you can pay off a microcredit. So working together with microcredit institutions. So we think that this could be an approach where we mobilizes also the masses.
In Germany, your bike would be illegal because it goes too fast within the engine. But suppose you sort of put the limit down and it was legal again. Could you imagine also selling it here, like sort of a bike version of a Dacia Logan kind of thing?
Maybe that's not my decision only. We have to negotiate with Hero whether this is a good idea, because then the bike would be 10% of the price of a high-level bicycle, and that would create market problems here. I'm not so sure. I cannot really answer this question now.
I know that you have a lot of fans, and also some famous fans, and people who kind of are your ambassadors. And one of those we're going to see now in a very quick video.
Was ich am schönsten finde, ist, dass man damit den Menschen in Afrika das Leben erleichtern kann.
Very nice. Maybe for those who don't know him, who was that?
That was Bjarne Mädel, famous German actor. And he was in Africa with me in 2016. He sat on e-bikes over there in our pilot project. And he was immediately convinced because he saw the different perspectives this can open to the families, households, people.
Of course, he was in Hamburg at the Außenalster, and it looked fine there, fit right in. And so I keep wondering why we shouldn't be able to buy this here. But that's just me. How do you find your ambassadors? How do you find your fans? Is that just word of mouth, or?
To be honest, I was in school. I sat next to Bjarne when we were in the 9th class, I think. And we came together a couple of years ago. And I said, Bjarne, I think we have to do something on the question of sustainable mobility worldwide, because what we develop here is a transportation system reform in Germany, which is nice. We need e-mobility. I fully agree with the former speakers that we have to reduce the fossil fuel emissions. We are using 90% of the fossil energy in our transport system worldwide. This is not a good solution. He is a fan of climate change. He's a fan of climate protection.
I figured.
And he's also a fan of this idea to start with something which is maybe coming from the bottom, from the top. Let's
talk about impact, because obviously you're both companies who aim for a strong sustainable impact. Is the sustainability impact more important than the profit?
You're asking a startup who have to survive, so we have to make this business
double dividend.
Yeah, exactly. So, but both, I would say, in my case, personal case, one of the reasons why I joined Circunomy was because of that. So for me, it's quite important, right?
How's it with you?
I think it must come together. But if you initiate a new technology, innovation is important, but innovation is also expensive. So we have a lot of subsidy in Germany for the e-market, for the e-car market. So I think it's also justifiable to put some additional money into the market to see where is the best case for a profit-oriented business.
Do you, both of you, have a way of actually measuring your impact and also your potential impact on climate or in general? On the ecology?
Sure. We have some numbers because, as I was saying before, if we, as a marketplace, we enable people to trade used batteries for second life applications, we can reduce the CO2 footprint of a battery by half. We're speaking here that the contribution of a battery is around 5 tons. Okay, and if you can extend the life of this battery in second life projects, you reduce it by half, and this is something. Not because this is electric, it's not green. This is something that we should always have in our minds.
And how do you go about thinking about your impact, measuring it?
We are taking the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and we are reflecting the impact of our e-bike use for the question of gender equity, for the question of job creation, for the question of climate change. We have a GPS tracker with the bike, which gives us the data on how many kilometers it is used, how often the battery is swapped, and these kind of figures we use for calculating and also verification of the CO2 impact. So the CO2 reduction potential is there. We don't know exactly where it is. Is it with e-bike taxis, the urban delivery services? We will find that out in 2022. And we are already in discussions with My Climate and Atmosphere to see whether we can also certify this product.
Are there certain areas in Africa where you're more hopeful than in others?
That's also a question we know, if you ask me next year, end of next year, we know better because we have the rural area, which is definitely has more access problems, access to mobility, than urban areas. In urban areas, we have a dominance of the car, we have no public transport, but we have, of course, also a large potential for this. We know it better in 1 year, I think. This is a pioneer phase, so.
Yeah. When you think about impact at large, of course, and especially climate, of course, is a global issue. $1 invested in Africa is, as effective for us here than one invested in Germany. Do we have to find more ways of sort of sending capital, effective capital, down south? Does the north have to do more to find ways to save the climate down south?
For sure, because the impact of the global warming is global, and northern countries are more responsible for this impact, and for sure, and I'm thinking as a technologist, the way that I will do it is to enable them, empower them with technology. And this is important because we are looking for developers, by the way. There are some developers out there, and they think that they can contribute with economics, they are welcome. And we are already checking people that are they could work remotely from Nigeria or from Africa. And I think it's a way that we could empower them to fight for the climate change from the local places.
I mean, obviously, your transmission down south is the whole purpose of the product. Do you feel that there is enough encouragement also by politics in the north, by governments?
I think so. I think we have to invest more in capacity building. We have very good policies here when it comes to transportation system reform in Europe, in Germany, but we're not thinking so far beyond the horizon. But to be honest, if we have a successful transformation, Verkehrswende in Germany, it doesn't make sense when it comes to the real figures of CO2 emissions. It's more important that we export our new model to other countries where we expect the highest growth of CO2. And that is Africa, that will be also South America, India. And we have to see that all the innovations we are developing here, whether we can adapt them and develop them further to be adopted by partners in the south. And there's investment is needed in capacity building, innovations. We're looking on how do we just an example, we're trying to get a European bike manufacturer to produce this bike. And I went to Warsaw to discuss with European bike manufacturers. Nobody was interested. Then later Hero came in with the design manufacturer of HNF Nicolai.
Yeah.
So that was really a sign that I thought, okay, there is not so much interest in that new market, emerging markets.
Well, experiencing the German Verkehrswende so far, I'm not so sure that I want to export it, but maybe it's going to be better in the future. Gentlemen, I thank you both very much for being here. All the best with your products and with saving the world. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.